Good evening, good evening. This is Hollis Brown, the chair of the Director Nominating Committee. Welcome everyone to the Directors Town Hall. We have our nominees here, seven highly qualified ASHI members who are interested in a director position on the ASHI Board of Directors. We have a little exercise that we have described to them back at LDC. We've communicated with them by email over the last few weeks, explaining and re-explaining the process. I believe everyone is ready to go, all but Mark Goodman. So, Mike, if you could read Mark's statement, that would be helpful.
Sure. I want to apologize for not being able to be present to speak, as I have been sick and my voice isn't quite what it should be. Since I can't talk about a specific idea, I would like to state that I am actively involved in bringing new member benefits to our members and the chapters. As the chair of a task force, we are actively developing a digital toolbox app designed for our members with valuable tools to help every member. As CRC chair, we introduced ASHI Education Roadshow chapter grant program at LDC, along with many new chapter resources to better support the chapters. Finally, I am working on the next big idea with several others to turn ASHI into the 900-pound gorilla on the web for home inspections and make the Find a Home Inspector feature on the website work as it should.
So yeah, Mark has, I think, has pneumonia. I've heard his voice. He can't talk without coughing. So probably just as well he's not here. So do we have any questions about the format? Everybody's good to go? Okay, then why don't we get started? Dave Rushton, you're on for 30 seconds to name and describe your member benefit suggestion, proposal, idea.
Okay. My benefit will be an Ask the Expert feature, a resource via phone, email, and potentially sending photos to an expert panel that will have a very finite time, and there will be levels of response time where somebody has a question, they don't have anyone else to ask, they can send their question into this Ask an Expert feature and get a response from a qualified expert within a very finite time.
Okay, thank you, Dave. That was exactly 30 seconds. Appreciate your promptness. Ray Baird, 30 seconds.
Okay, mine would be a proposed member benefit situation to develop and promote better understanding with non-chapter members concerning the benefits of belonging to ASHI and to better promote ASHI to the real estate professional community. And sounds like that's what Mark was putting together as well. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Ray. Tammy, you're next. Tammy Nicholas. You have to unmute your mic. Tammy, are you with us? I saw her name here.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, please start the timer over for her.
I just started it. Complimentary pass to Inspection World for passing the National Home Inspectors Examination. The program can run as a carrot on a stick for and with the mentoring program that's rolling out in 2020, and to give people who really an incentive and have a peer-to-peer kind of relationship with people that we want to introduce to the ASHI organization.
Thank you, Tammy.
Good job.
Doug Johnson.
I call mine ASHI Action Groups, and this is where we can group people, not chapters.
We can't hear you very well.
We want to group people.
Let's start over again. You're breaking up. Let's do a quick mic check. We want to hear you. Can we hear your voice?
Doug Johnson talking right now. Is that good?
Okay, good.
Yep.
30 seconds. Okay. 30 seconds. Go.
I call it the ASHI Action Groups. And this is where we group people of similar interests together.
We can't hear you. Doug, you got a problem with sound at your end, I believe. We're gonna start over. We're gonna pass you by. let you do a quick mic check on your own, and then we're gonna we'll come back to you.
Okay.
And now you sound fine, but we're gonna come back to you. Scott Johnson.
Hi, this is Scott Johnson with ASHI, Georgia. My plan is to work up and get going a health benefits, death and dismemberment, liability, life insurance and supplementals to augment the program that the board has going right now. That's it.
All right, thank you. We're going to skip Mark and we'll go to Jim Vaughn.
Jim Vaughn, Northern Virginia chapter of ASHI. So mine is about the members and the chapters and the chapter members, which is all one thing really. And it's about ways to reach out to guys who don't have a chapter, and about ways for ASHI to provide better support for the chapters.
Okay, let's go back to the top again, and we'll start with Dave. You've got 2 minutes to tell us more about your Ask the Expert idea. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me set my timer to 2 minutes from 30 seconds.
Wait a
All right,
minute.
I'm ready.
What about going back to Doug?
Right, we got to go back to Doug Johnson. We got to go back to Doug Johnson. Doug, have you got sound now?
Hang on, let me go.
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
When you come on, you sound good, and then you fade away.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, that sounded good. Take your shot. 30 seconds. Go.
Okay. ASHI action groups where we group people with similar interests.
Mike, you have any idea what's going on?
I don't. Doug, are you wearing a headset mic or do you have a microphone?
It's a headset.
I don't know. It sounds fine at the very beginning, and then it sounds like you're walking away from the microphone.
I'm just sitting at the computer, not moving, and I'm surprised. I don't know.
It's weird. You come on strong and then you fade away. Why don't you put yours in the chat? Type it out. You got 30 seconds. Type it out in the chat, so we've got at least got that, and then we'll move on with Dave. And you see if you can't do them. There's a way to do a sound check. Once you do that, in the meantime, and see if you can't join us when you can.
You could just go to cell phone.
Or you could, that may be a good idea, is coming on your phone. Once you figure that out, Doug, you're a smart guy. Let's move on to Dave Rushton. Dave, you got 2 minutes to.
Hang on, let me set the timer to 2 minutes.
Dave, you got 2 minutes to set your.
All right, I'm good.
The Ask the Expert feature, where inspectors in the field will be able to, again, either phone in or email questions and photos about situations that they encounter and just don't have any idea. This would be a hotline that would be set up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Responses would be 3 levels of responses. One is within a 24-hour response to typical questions. Then there would also potentially be quicker responses.
All right, Dave, now we're losing you. 3 levels of responses.
3 levels of responses. I think I got to talk to the microphone.
Yep.
3 levels of responses, 24 hours, 12 hours, or a 4-hour response when somebody makes the inquiry. They would be a free question for the 24 hours. The 12-hour response time, a quicker response time might cost $1. A 4-hour response time might cost, $2 or $3 for the person asking the question. The panelists who will be responding, they will be not doing this out of the generosity of their heart, but again, they would be paid a nominal fee, $1 to $3. Just again, these are kind of numbers out of a hat, but they would actually get compensation for their time and effort to respond to the question. Again, to make it worth people's while to participate from the expert position. And again, if someone doesn't need an answer within an hour, they, their questions would be answered free. And again, that gives the expert time to get home, finish their inspection, do the report, and then answer the question rather than having to get on the phone immediately after an inspection and, bring the information, answer a question immediately. And I think that's my timer being dinged.
That's it. Your time is up. Ray Baird, you have 2 minutes to develop your idea about the non-members, communicating with the non-members. And
Okay, Ray Baird here, Mid-10 ASHI. Again, I would like to work to establish this plan at the TAP chapter and the national level to seek out inspectors and encourage their participation by either phone or email, and affect anything at the chapter level as well. But general emails from national to new chapter members or non-chapter members, encourage participation, and then nationally to actively work with state and local real estate organizations through education and meetings. We've had some great responses here through this effort, where actually in some of the organizations they specify an ASHI inspector period on some of the forms. But to better organization at the national level under locate an inspector, and I think this is some of what Dave was talking, Mark was talking about as well. But merge information with the chapter members such that they can be designated, and we've got independents also listed in this area, but there'd be a little different designation. But give these people, everybody, that opportunity to be selected, but with a little bit different designation in terms of their status on the listing category. I think this is possible through some of the work that's coming about with the new website that's coming online. But that's about it. Thank you.
all right, thank you, Ray. So Tammy, you're next. Tammy Nicholas.
Okay, the pros, interactive, incentivized education will attract new persons to the individual chapters and boost attendance at the chapter level. So the purpose for the incentive is twofold: financials and training. First pro on financial side of it is the individual chapters can determine if the membership fee can be waived for the first year of candidate training, or the chapter could purchase NHIE exam materials with the chapter member fees, books or thumb drives that incentivize for the study at home or on a face-to-face 1-hour study exam sessions at the chapter level. Second, training, the pros. The retention rate for the complimentary IW we know from past offerings is doing well. I propose we build our candidates up with 2 complimentary ride-alongs with an ACI for passing 3 practice tests given at the monthly chapter meeting. This way we know the person is giving serious time to the study materials and gaining firsthand experience in ASHI standards of practice. My personal success I attribute to the opportunity to study with ACIs who are handing out copies of practice exams in the NHIE exam books and going over questions together at the 1-hour study meetings prior to chapter dinner meetings. Then my confidence grew and on how to inspect and what steps were necessary to attain the ACI accreditation. A multi-inspector firm actually paid for my exam fees after I successfully passed it the first time. And I think that's how it should be administered as well. You have to pass the test the first time. So the cons are our chapter did struggle with getting people interested in the face-to-face training being offered. And even though we had volunteers making paper copies, that really kind of turned off a lot of people. Not a lot of people want to do paper and pencil study. Some chapters, they just don't have enough members or financials to have a successful peer program, such as ride-alongs, because of lack of interest in training and just liability issues. The use of videos and technology has always been a challenge because some of the smaller chapters don't have enough members. And okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. Doug, have you succeeded in getting good audio? We'll start with your 30-second if you're good.
Well, we can combine them together, hopefully. Does this sound good?
Yeah, you sound real good. So let's give them 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Thank you. So my event is called the ASHI Action Groups, and this is where we can provide an avenue of people of similar interests to come together and meet other ASHI members from across the country. And so you might say, there's 10 of us that are ASHI members that enjoy sailing. We're going to start this action group, and we can have our talks on an online message board or Facebook group and get to know each other better because of that similar interest. That interest could be retired electricians or drone users or 5K runners or people in the Boy Scouts or just women. And so you have these action groups that will allow people to come together across the country, regardless of if they're in a chapter, not in a chapter, in one chapter, across the nation from a completely different people. It'll be a whole different cross thread of the community.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
All right, Scott Johnson, you got 2 minutes.
Hello, Scott Johnson again. I've had the great privilege of working probably the last 4, 5, 6 months with Mike Price out of the Mid-Atlantic area to formulate a health benefits program. Now, these health benefits were not for just the business side, but for death and dismemberment, for life insurance, and for kind of the AFLAC type thing. We came up with a really, really strong and inexpensive platform to be able to work. We do have now a relationship through the board with Inspector Pro. And what I would really like to do, and what I'm trying to do right now, is speak with Inspector Pro and get Health Markets, whom Mike and I have been speaking with, to do a collaboration and get these benefits out to the inspectors. I'm blessed that I work with a multi-inspector firm and I have really good insurance. Not every inspector out there has that. Most of us looking around the Chicago and looking around IW have a lot of gray hair. And coming off of a ladder would be a very traumatic thing for us. I don't bounce anymore, I splat. So what I would really like to do is see us have those benefits that if something does happen, we know that we are going to be taken care of through our recovery or whatever needs to happen, or that our family would be taken care of. I really appreciate hearing what everybody has to say. I think we are really fortunate to have such a strong panel, such a strong set of candidates. I think our society will grow whichever four get chosen. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott Johnson. We're going to skip Mark Goodman and go to our last candidate, Jim Vaughn. 2 minutes.
Hi, Jim Vaughn with Nova ASHI. So I feel like there's nothing like chapter meetings. We have a great, Nova ASHI is a great chapter. We have a good educational program. We have good meetings, good seminars. And I think the people who are not involved in a chapter are really missing out. So I'm going to figure out a way to reach out to them. To that end, I think ASHI needs to be more supportive of chapters. And I know that some stuff has been talked about at LDC about helping chapters learn how to run seminars. But I think we also need to take time as chapters to reach out to non-chapter members in our area. Of course, it's also important to have the webcast going, and we can help other chapters who have members in their area who are too far away to make a meeting to get them online with the online meetings. Chapters should all have a mentoring program, and this isn't to train our competition, it's to improve the quality of the home inspectors available to the public. Nationally, ASHI could help the chapters by having higher quality and more online content. As far as the non-chapter guys, that have the webcast, we could invite them to attend one of our seminars for free, and we can make it an effort to include them on a mailing list keep them up on what's going on with the chapter. We can give them 3 free meetings, either in person or online, a reduced fee for the first year. Personal contact is very important.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to the top, and this time we're going to ask you what this is a 1-minute round, and we're going to ask each one of you to elaborate on, build on, further develop an idea that someone else brought to the table. And we are going to include what Mark Goodman, the statement that that Mike read at the beginning. So Dave, you're going to go first. You got 1 minute, and we want no negatives. No, don't tell us what's wrong with somebody's idea. This is just a brainstorming session. So we want to know what you think is good, which one you like the best, which one you think you've got some better ideas, some ways to build on it. So take it away, Dave. You're up. Go. Dave Rushton, are you?
There we go. Okay. All right. I've been going back and forth between your and mine. I really like Tammy's idea, the comprehensive complementary path to inspection world, and strong activity in the mentorship program, getting people active and involved in terms of training and education for new and existing and experienced inspectors. I think promoting the education is one of the strongest ways to get and increase membership, because our education is vital to our being able to do our jobs. Things are changing. Areas of expertise are always, there's new things coming out in all the fields. So, and ultimately having a bonus like a comprehensive pass to inspection world for somebody who would not typically attend, again, in terms of member retention, somebody that's going to inspection world, they're, on ASHI's time, they're basically a lifetime member.
All right, Dave, thanks a lot. Ray Baird, you're up for 1 minute. Ray, are you with us? Ray Baird. All right, let's skip Ray, and Ray, you need to do whatever, unmute your mic or whatever you have to do. We're going to go on to Tammy. Tammy Nicholas, you have 1 minute.
Just 1 second. These were both muted.
Yes.
So,
Okay. I'm there now. I don't know what happened. I kept trying to.
Okay, let's go back to Ray then. Okay, Ray Baird, you got 1 minute to develop someone else's idea.
Okay. Ironically, and going through what people have said, it appears that Mark Goodman, Jim Vaughn, and myself are kind of on the same page. I moved a little more toward the real estate community than I think either of them. But again, this is really important to reach out to these non-chapter people with the intent to build a stronger ASHI, and hopefully through the chapter, let them come in. There is no better way than face-to-face and one-on-one or in a classroom setting. I've taught for too many years, and you can't sit in front of a computer and get these CEs and it mean anything as much to you as it does in a one-on-one or in a classroom situation with other members. So I'm very, very positive about trying to organize that, whether it's with GoToMeeting or whether it's whatever. We've got to work it so that these people can belong and have an active part and build ASHI as a whole. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Ray Baird. Let's go on to Tammy Nicholas. Tammy, you got 1 minute.
Okay, I'd like to build on Ray's proposal. I'm creating a listing service for the members to. We did this. We tried. Through our website to have If you're booked up and you can't make it to where a real estate agent would like you to do an inspection, we tried to get, you know, other people on the website, like in a matrix, and we were just really having difficulties because hiring, we're at a place where we don't know whether to hire somebody to make our website more interactive in that way, so that, you know, you can have your chapter members come up for real estate agents to get an inspection when they need it. Going out and doing, as a group, as members, going out and doing presentations is always really helpful, builds and instills confidence in non-chapter members, because you're
Tammy, you can finish your sentence.
yeah, because you're actually providing them your years of experience when you go out and do a presentation.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Tammy, Nicholas. Let's move on to Doug Johnson. Doug, you've got
Yes,
1 minute.
I'd like to build on what Dave was talking about with the Ask the Expert. I want to make sure that that app, that program would have the ability for the person asking to be able to post a video and get real time back and forth, because sometimes the expert's going to have some follow-up questions. You know, can you show me a better picture of the data plate or something to that effect? And then put in a point system where the person answering the question will be incentivized to answer more questions by building points, and then they could eventually earn an achievement, whether that's a discounted rate on their ASHI dues or Inspection World Conference fees or something to that effect, so that we keep the experts engaged and wanting to answer more. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Doug Johnson. Let's move on to Scott Johnson. Scott, you're up. 1 minute.
Hey, it's Scott again. I really like how everybody's focusing, or most are focusing on the chapters, because they are ASHI, period. However, I want to give Mark Goodman a voice because he doesn't have one right now. Mark is someone that I always feel better having spent time with. He's someone that I cherish each time that we get to speak, that we get to sit down and talk. What he's doing with his app and his toolbox that he's chairing is just remarkable. It's going to give our members such a huge value, such a huge strength, that I won't have to go elsewhere to get information when I need it. I think following along with Mark is probably my best call. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Scott Johnson. Let's move on to Jim Vaughn. Jim, you got 1 minute.
Okay. I'd like to build on what Tammy brought. The part about mentoring, and especially the part about having the mentoring program organized in a way that new guys could spend like an hour with someone who's willing to mentor them. I think that's a really great idea. And I also think there should be ways to get national to help the chapters set up programs like this, to make the chapters more successful. That's it.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Jim Vaughn. Okay, so now what we're going to do is invite the peanut gallery. We've got 20 people out there in the attendee list. A lot of you are council reps, but some of you are, I see a couple of officers in the list as well. So you're welcome to be here. We thank you for showing up. We'd like you to please start entering your questions into the question. Mike, can you give them whatever instructions they need to know how to do that?
Yep. So in the control panel, and they already know because they're already coming in. In the control panel, you can type your questions and I will read them. So Hollis, do you want to the first question is, what is the greatest resource / asset ASHI has today? I'll let you handle what order and how much time you want to give them.
Okay, well, let's take that question. Why don't we just mix it up here a little bit, and Is there anybody in particular who wants to take that question? What's the greatest resource or asset that ASHI has today? Does anybody want to, any of the panelists
Yeah, the
want to?
chapters.
Okay, so let's let Dave Rushton go first. Dave, answer that question.
Yeah, the chapters with the physical meetings on a regular basis, and the Nova ASHI starting the webcast where people that can attend or are in different locations can attend the meetings virtually. It's just, for me, the chapter has been, far more important in my professional development, my activity, than national ASHI. That's something that I'm at every month, talking to people, getting feedback, meeting friends and colleagues that are now friends. So I really feel that the individual chapters, and where people live in South Dakota and you're 400 miles away, the webcast for chapter meetings and developing chapters in areas that are very sparsely populated, again, is important to provide the sense of community that ASHI in particular has given me.
All right, so I'm going to see, we're going to need a timer. Let's cut these, let's make these 30-second answers. Jenny, you got the timer going? Does anybody else want to take
Yes.
that question? Anybody else want to take that question? What's the greatest asset or resource that she has today?
Scott Wood.
Scott, go ahead. 30 seconds.
Very simple. It's our membership. Heard Jim Funkhauser say that last night in that town hall for the president-elect. We got to take care of our memberships. We are a society. The more we can do to involve everybody, the better we're going to be, period. That's how a society works. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Ray Baird here. I agree 100%. It's all about the chapter, the members, whether they're chapter members or not, but especially the chapters, because they're the backbone of the society. We've got to take care of each other.
Anybody else want to weigh in on that question? We got plenty of questions.
Tammy
Go ahead,
here.
Tammy.
I know for firsthand experience, the educational opportunities that ASHI National puts forth for us is what drew me to ASHI, and I'll be forever ASHI member.
Anybody else want to take that question? We have plenty of questions. Anybody else? Going once?
Jim here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the members. The members who are in the chapters and the members who aren't in chapters, and we've got to include everybody 100%.
All right, Hollis, would you like the next question?
Sure.
Okay. What has been the greatest failure of ASHI?
Greatest failure of ASHI. Who wants to take that question? Nobody wants to touch that one with a 10-foot pole, huh?
Oh, I got plenty if no one wants that one.
That's silence.
Okay, next question. Okay. Are the candidates going to address the proposed bylaws change?
Does anybody want to talk about the bylaws change?
Scott will.
Okay.
We're at a point where going back and forth and constant communication, strife is not going to be beneficial. We need to find a way to say yes. What that way is, are we there? We're real close. The only issue that I have remaining on the bylaws change is in the size of the board, and specifically the officers. If there were 4 officers, then we would, and 9 directors, we would have a better balance.
Anybody else want to comment on the bylaws change?
This is Ray Baird. Yes, I agree. That's the only hang up that I've got with it. We've got to update. We've got to move forward. But I think it's right on the borderline right now. If it could move one position either way toward the directors, I think it would be a much better situation. Thank you.
Anybody else on the bylaws change?
Yeah, Dave Rushton. I'm long-term disappointed in the dissolution of the Council of Representatives. I think noisy and unorganized as it is, it still was actually attempting to provide input to the board, though that was much less successful than I would have liked to have seen it. Not shrinking the board too far. Again, and the new member resource committee instead of the core, or instead of the core, there really needs to be a way for more than just 11 people to govern the organization, a way to get input from the members into the board meetings and a statement.
Anybody else on that one, on the bylaws change? All right, we got another one.
Oh, we got plenty. Let's see. How do you see ASHI as an educator?
ASHI as an educator. Who wants to take that one?
I could do it, Doug.
Right, Doug Johnson.
Okay. Obviously the mentoring is probably the best thing that we can do as an ASHI organization. We have the for-profit school, which does an amazing job, but the education, the peer-on-peer, the peer review, being with each other on a smaller scale and outside of a classroom is where we really learn. It's in the field. It's with someone that's been there and done that.
This is Scott Johnson. I agree with Doug wholeheartedly on that. The mentoring, the peer review, all of that is very good. The ASHI school is wonderful as well. I am an instructor there. I would also like to promote the chapters and the education that goes through the chapters. That's priceless to me because, again, we are face to face with other inspectors on a larger scale in a meeting room, and I enjoy that, or in a group meeting online. Thank you.
Ray Baird here. I can't say enough for education. I've been an instructor either for ITA or for the ASHI school for over 14 years, and but it's that face to face and that meeting as a mentor or in the chapter that really makes a difference for these guys. We've got a committee set up in our chapter where there are certain ones of us that we want everybody in the chapter to feel comfortable with asking a question. I've been on rooftops, I've been in attics, I've been in crawl spaces, and I'll get a call wanting to know about a certain problem. So that's what it's all about, face to face.
Anybody else on the bylaws?
Tammy here.
Education, I'm sorry, education.
We need to have a clear program that speaks to chapter level training programs, and it should be administered through ASHI National. And as of this date, in my chapter, we're still trying to get volunteers on that committee for this type of a peer program. So we do struggle, and it would be nice to have ASHI help us with these chapter level training programs.
Anybody else on that question about ASHI as an educator?
Jim.
Dave Rushton, education is a key and critical component of ASHI. Online education really only gets you so far. It's feedback in a room with a speaker and multiple attendees. You just can't get that out of a webinar. The mentoring program is, Nova ASHI struggled with it for years trying to get mentors, but the one-on-one training, this is, you can't get everything in a classroom, and you certainly can't get everything about home inspections online.
All right, Jim, you had something, right? Jim
Yes,
Bond, I thought I heard your voice. Go ahead.
I think ASHI does a really good job with Inspection World for the most part. But I was also thinking that we probably need to somehow surge in forward here and get going with the online stuff, because the forum can be useful, but for some reason it just doesn't seem to catch on with ASHI. I don't know if it's the age of the membership or what, but we know that the other group has a very active online forum, and I'd like to see ASHI see what they can do about that at a national level. Thank you.
Anybody else on that topic? All right,
All
let's
right.
move another question there, Mike.
Next one. What is your opinion on making chapter membership mandatory?
Mandatory chapter membership. Who wants to take that one on first?
Scott will.
Hi, Scott. Scott Johnson.
We can't possibly force anybody to do anything. We would love to encourage, I would love to see every member of ASHI very active in our chapters. That's just not possible. That's not the personality of everybody. That's not the strength of everybody. Like I've heard Ray and Jim say, and Mark Goodman in his notes, we've got to find a way to reach out to these people and bring them in, make them inclusive. We can't force anybody to do anything. We're volunteers.
Anybody else?
Dave Rushton, when you join National ASHI, you are basically assigned a chapter. Whether you choose to participate or not is really up to you. And in terms of going to meetings and things, physical distance for people that live in extremely rural areas just makes it literally impossible. But you trying to force home inspectors to do anything. Most people trying to force people to do anything is the wrong approach.
Anybody else?
Jim here. I would be opposed to trying to force people to join a chapter. I would think about it the other way around and let chapters have members who aren't even members of ASHI, just bring other people in and expose them to the chapter and expose them to ASHI. Thank you.
Anybody else on mandatory chapter membership? All right, we got another question there, Mike.
Oh, we got plenty. Where do you want ASHI to be in 5 years, and how do we get there?
Anybody who wants to take that question? ASHI, where are we trying to get? How are we going to get there?
This is Tammy here. I just really think that online training is critical. I don't see us not instituting like some sort of online training program. I know we have the ASHI school, and I to be honest, I don't know if they have any kind of online training program, but I believe you have to be present at the ASHI school, and I just think it should be some type of online training. That's it.
Anybody else on that question? Where do you want to be in 5 years, and how are you going to get there?
This is Scott. 5 years, I want us to still be strong. I want us to still be relevant. We do have to be more in today's world, the technology world. Look something up online and I find ASHI. How do we get there? We work with the greats that have gotten us where we are. We work with the new people that are coming up with these great ideas. Great case in point is Mark Goodman. What he's doing is phenomenal. I think I can follow his lead a bit on that.
Anybody else?
Doug would like to speak on that. I would like to see ASHI as the only home inspector trade organization. It's going to take a lot of relationship building. We're going to be going up against the iBuyers, the Zillows and Trulia, people finding houses that way. And we've got to pair up with the realtors and other organizations so that we can maintain our footing and keep growing into the future.
Yeah, Ray Baird here. I agree. It's going to all come back to promoting the education that we have that is available and is online, but also working with the real estate community. As I said, we've made tremendous strides here just by getting out and working with them, going to some of the realtor meetings and talking with these folks. It's a people business, folks. That's what it's all about. And they've got to feel comfortable with you. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Good points, Doug and Ray.
All right, we have another question there, Mike.
How can we leverage national resources to provide more meaningful benefits to members? All right.
Who wants
If
to
no
take
one
that
wants
question?
that, I can move on to another question if no one
I'll
wants.
take it.
I-
I'm Ray Baird here. I would, I'm of the opinion that there are a tremendous number of resources there that the average inspector has no clue exist. I was in a meeting in Chicago recently at the conference and discovered several things that I was totally unaware of that were available to me through ASHI. And I think this needs to be better described to not only the chapter folks, but to the general membership population. I really do.
Who else?
Dave Rushton. Actually communicating to the individual members and the chapters the resources that are available. It should not be that the member goes to ASHI to look. ASHI should be on the positive, sending this information out, and it really has to be repeated in a nice fashion. But you need to have people see or hear something 3 times before it actually sinks in.
Scott would like to second that. As the education chair in ASHI, Georgia, I would be very open to giving X amount of time every chapter meeting to discussing these very benefits. Doesn't really, so do I have something new to throw out there? No, but I love what everybody's saying. Let's figure out what we got and how we can utilize those before we start worrying about spending more of our resources.
Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Doug would like to add, just letting our members know what's out there, knowing that they can get deals on car rentals and hotel rooms, maybe publishing it in our ASHI magazine more, sending out emails to members 6 months after they join, say, hey, you're still an associate. Do you know how to advance your membership to become an inspector? Do you know how to get to the ACI? Communication both ways, especially from the top down. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just found out I can get a discount at Jiffy Lube. Hot damn.
All right. Hollis, you ready for the next question?
Yeah, let's take another question.
How can we build the ASHI brand to help support higher fees for ASHI members based on their ASHI inspector quality compared to non-ASHI inspectors?
This is Scott. The ACI is just an incredible gift that we have. The leaders of past and present that brought that to be. Thank you for that. The ACI, working with the NCCA and ICE, the National Commission for Accrediting Agencies or something like that, what we have to go through to achieve ACI status, the psychometrics, working with EVPHI and the National Home Inspectors exam, we really need to leverage that a lot more. I did not know what that was until I got on the committee. I think it's huge.
Yeah,
Anybody
this is
else?
Ray Baird. I'm on that committee as well, and I agree with Scott. I was totally clueless that it was that important and that meaningful, and I think that definitely needs to be passed along to any and all of our members that will listen to it, and as far as that goes, to the real estate community as well.
Thank you, Ray Baird. Anybody else? That's it? Okay, what's our next question then, Mike?
Okay, let's see. How can we increase student census? I'm guessing TAS students. How can we increase the number of TAS students?
The ASHI school students.
Okay, no takers on that one.
I wish I knew on that. ASHI School Alpharetta, we're not having a class this next week because we didn't get enough students. That's that's sad. I think to be able to better that, we need to have a budget that we can go out and market. Any of the marketing I do has to be basically on my own out here. I love to do it. I haven't done it in a month or so, and that's showing. Again, it's on my dime. We need a budget there. So spending resources. I know the ASHI school is separate, but it's not separate. We really need to promote our education because it is such an incredible school with absolute incredible instructors that we got out there.
Anybody else?
I'll have to second that with Scott. I'm an instructor with ASHI as well. And if we spend the time with these folks that come through the program, they're with us. And we've had students that have come to us that have failed somewhere else with another school, and they say there's no comparison whatsoever. The instruction that they got and the experience. So yes, this is a tremendous asset that we need to really work on. But it's just like Scott said, we've got a school coming up in 2 weeks here, and we only have 5 students. So it's kind of a bummer. But anyway, thanks.
Anybody else on the ASHI school?
Yes, Doug would like to. One thing is when I was first trying to get licensed and trained is I went online and said, how do I become a home inspector in my state? What are the requirements? If we built a landing page that directed people, these are the 10 steps you have to do in your state. And obviously, number 2 or 3 will probably be sign up for the ASHI school, go to a class. If we can give them that step-by-step, it's going to make their life easier and help us get more people into the school. Thank you.
Anybody else on that question about this school?
Yeah, Dave Rushton. The school competition has heated up pretty tremendously, at least in the Northern Virginia market, where the ASHI school is, with a teacher there. I had been teaching fairly regularly, but there's an AHIT school in the area that has just siphoned the students away from the ASHI school, it seems, that they've canceled the last 2 out of 3 for simply lack of participation. So promoting the ASHI school, but combining it with a mentorship provides a significant benefit because most licensing states that have licensing not only require the schooling, but they also require hands-on training and mentorship. So bringing mentorship into the ASHI school, I think, would be a significant improvement for it.
Anybody else? Anybody else on the ASHI school? All right, Mike, let's move on.
Okay. Would you support using retired members for an Ask the Expert program?
Absolutely. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's Dave Rushton here.
Scott Johnson agrees with Dave 100% on that. Why would we not use the expertise of those that taught us? Absolutely.
Hey, Ray Baird here. I agree 100%. I think they're a very underutilized group of people.
Anybody else?
Jim Vaughn here. I agree with what the others have said. There's no reason if the retirees are willing to do that. Why not?
Anybody else?
Tammy Nicholas here. I have a retiree, and the person that I have as my mentor retired, and I work closely with them, and we don't have any kind of contracts between ourselves. It's just a handshake and knowing we're both professionals, and his business sense is what attracted me to the retirees. Their business sense.
Anybody else on that question about retirees?
Well,
Okay,
I wouldn't say my business sense is my strong suit, but my knowledge and expertise from 25 years of doing this and teaching seminars. Again, when I retire in the foreseeable future, that knowledge and experience, I want to use it to help, other people improve their become inspectors and improve their professionalism as inspectors.
Anybody else? All right, let's see. I think we got time for one more.
Okay. Have you personally signed up to be a mentor? And if you have not, why?
Scott Johnson, I have signed up to be a mentor, but I really have not had much communication there. I would like to see that. Through my chapter, I'm a mentor. Through the ASHI School, I'm a mentor. Every student that ever comes through my classes has my cell phone, has my address, has my email addresses. There's several that I talk to weekly, monthly. There's some that I talk to every few months, and some I haven't heard from. I do try to reach out to them, but the mentorship is important. A gentleman by the name of Greg Spencer and John Mercer were my mentors when I started. They're still very different.
Ray Baird
Anybody
here.
else?
I agree 100%. I've done mentor work for all the way back for 14 years and still do with guys in the chapter, and it's rewarding on both sides.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Dave Rushton. I have not signed up in Nova ASHI for the mentor program specifically, but for the 20 years I've been a member of Nova ASHI, with my background in electrical and old houses, I just seem to get questions all, on a regular basis via email and telephone, people sending me photos. So in terms of teaching on a frequent basis, informal basis, it's just happened. And it's something that I've encouraged.
Tammy
Anybody
Nick
else?
was here. I signed up for the mentor program, and I was talking to another member, and Citadel Insurance Services is actually going to cover people with their ride-along partners. So I'm getting ready to call Will and talk to him about it.
Good. Anybody else? This is our last question. Anybody else on that mentorship? Have you signed up to be a mentor? Okay. So that concludes that section of our evening. I want to thank everybody, the attendees, for your excellent questions, and I thank our candidates for being willing to step up and actually assert yourselves this evening. I think we've got 7 highly qualified candidates here. I could vote for all of them if I was allowed to, but we've got some limitations on that. Please be reminded that 2 ballots will be going out tomorrow. One for the officer. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Mike. 1 ballot for the directors and officer. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong.
3 ballots.
3 ballots. So the directors and officers ballot goes to everyone, all voting members, inspectors and ACIs. The director ballot goes to the Council of Representatives to vote on 4 of these 7. And then the bylaws amendment also goes out. So council reps, you have 3 ballots. Everyone else has 2 ballots. Should be coming out tomorrow. Do we have any questions before we close the meeting? Questions or comments from the audience? Anything from the audience quickly? Nothing from the audience. So do we have any clarifications or questions from the candidates?
Good luck to everybody. I think ASHI's going to win no matter who gets in.
And thank you again, Hollis, for putting this together, and you, Micah, for putting up with us.
No problem.
Yes, and thank you to the organizers and the staff for helping out here.
And my thanks as well, Hollis. You spend a tremendous amount of time doing things that just promote ASHI to the benefit of the members and at the sacrifice of your time and sleep.
Anybody
Thanks
else?
Thanks for everything. Thank you.
That was Doug Johnson.
Yes, thank you from Scott.
Thank you,
do.
Hollis and Miker. I appreciate all the support. Good luck, everyone. It's a pleasure doing the volunteer, having others in the volunteer spirit step up. It really, it's heartwarming. I really appreciate being a member of ASHI and having the other members be so supportive.
Anybody else? So we do have 4 comments from the peanut gallery. Mike, you want to read those for us?
Thank you. Good job. May the force be with you. Great job, Hollis and Mike.
And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for everybody's attention and participation, and good luck to the candidates.
Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.